And this is part one of fixing this chimney. The first thing we're doing is we're putting caps on the clay chimney part. And that's because we have birds that come in there in the spring, and we'll put these caps on so no birds or animals get in there. These were the cheapest ones you could buy on Amazon. I think they were 30, 40 bucks. And they fit the 13 by 13 inch clay cap. And once again, all the products like the chimney cap and the crown sealer, I'll put links to them in the description in case you want to check them out. The other thing I'd point out is I bought a harness and a rope from Amazon too. The harness was under 20 bucks. The rope was 20 or 30 bucks. And that's because our roof at the gutter is 20 feet up and at the chimney is about 30. And I really don't want to fall off of here when I'm climbing the ladder, climbing another ladder. But if I do, I want this harness, so hopefully it'll stop me from falling off the edge. So I'm going to put the next one on there right now. So here you can see how the chimney cap goes on. I thought these tabs on the inside had to be folded down, but they actually set it at the right height. So you want it up near the top, and then you just tighten down these 4 screws on the side as much as they'll go. And that's it. And it's locked in there pretty well. You know, I can't. Once they bite in, the little screws will bite into the clay chimney. But no, the little tabs that are folded up, just hold it right up there at the lip, and then you can tighten this down. So that's the first one. Now to do the second one right here. And again, in case you're wondering, these are 13 by 13 on the outside. So here's the second one. And you just set it on there like that. And if it sets too high, you can kind of bend these tabs down. But that should be good. You kind of center it on there. And then I'm using a 10mm socket. I think it's a little loose. You could probably use a 7/16. It also has a flat blade screwdriver. But really up here on the roof, it's going to be hard to mess with. So you just take a socket and tighten them all down evenly until they bite in to the side there. So I'll stop there and then keep going all the way around. But yeah, it's pretty easy. Just tighten these things down and it locks it in place pretty well. So that's part one. The next part's going to be sealing this cracked chimney cap. Now we're on part two. The next thing I'm going to do is put a chimney crown sealer, which is this stuff, brushable chimney repair. It's kind of like a thick cement-like paint, and that's going to seal up our chimney cap. Right now it's all broken, and you can see bricks are crumbling out because here in Michigan, water gets in there and then it freezes and the bricks pop out. So hopefully this will prevent any more damage to the chimney from water getting into the top. So there's 3 steps that it asks for on here. I'm going to be doing 2 of those 3 steps. The first one they say is to take a wire brush, clean the crown off. I'm going to do that. The second thing they say is to wet it down with some spritz of water. I'm going to do that. The third thing they say is for a nice clean edge, put some taper on the edge. I'm not doing that. It's too high up. I can't get to the backside. I can barely reach it with the brush, let alone get to the edge. So I'm just going to be brushing it on, 2 coats, waiting an hour in between. So first thing is get up there with a wire brush. You can see how big some of the cracks are in here, and some of these are pretty loose. Okay, it's all cleaned up with the wire brush. The next step I will be doing is wetting it down. This is just a spritz bottle, and they say kind of wet it down so that it doesn't all get absorbed into the stone. Well, I can see why they say wet it down. Our cement really just sucked all that moisture right in. You can see right here, it's a pretty dry spot. If I spray it, a couple seconds later, it just sucks it right all in. So I was really wetting some of this down, and it was getting absorbed right in there. So you can see that's almost starting to dry up right in here. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for prep now. Time to brush this stuff on. It's real thick and kind of like runny peanut butter. My method is just get a big 3-inch brush, glop it on, fill in the crack, and then kind of smooth it out. That's all I've been doing. Really just getting a big glop of this stuff, filling in the cracks, because that's where the water's getting in. And then just smoothing out the edge. Well, one thing I noticed, this thing was sitting on here. It was really loose. I just lifted it off, and that gave me a lot more access to get all around there and seal that in nice and tight. So you want to seal up all the cracks. So if you have to lift something off like this, seal it up, put it on. Well, I'm almost done with the first coat, and I have to say I'm really liking this stuff. I thought I was going to have to caulk all of these bad joints, but this stuff seems like it's doing a good job. There was a joint I just kind of slathered and filled in. So here's a pretty big crack in here, and just kind of smearing this stuff in there. And you can see it just fills it right in. So I thought I was going to have to go through and caulk everything, but I'm glad I didn't. The other thing is, yeah, you might say that's a little messy and I should have taped it. I really don't care at this point. I'm just making sure I get it right up to the edge over here. And anywhere water could get in. And then really getting these cracks. Well, I'm just waiting for the first coat to dry. It's drying pretty quickly up there. And I used about half of the container. So for that size chimney, I think that size is pretty good. Well, it's been an hour and I've come back and I did just slightly wet everything down again. Just a quick spray. All the thin coat is dry, but where I put it on really thick in the cracks, it's still a little tacky, but it's mostly dry. And just for reference, this cap is about 3 by 5, maybe a 2.5 by 5, and I used half the container. But again, I put it on really thick. So if you have a 3 by 5 cap, this container should be fine. Now I'm just going to do the rest of it. I'll take this back off and start doing the second coat. Well, I'm finished with the second coat, and I used almost the entire bucket. So 2 coats, a 2.5 by 5 or a 3 by 5 cap is perfect. I'm now taking all the rest of it and just slobbing it on and filling in all the cracks in case those cracks ever do expand. I want to really seal those. Yeah, I'm just getting all that's left here, really globbing up this brush and just filling in all these cracks and smoothing everything out. But I'm really happy with it. It's gone on really well. It's covered. I've used a brush, and so far it looks great. This is the end of step 2. Step 3 is going to be waterproofing. Well, now I'm ready to do the final step, and that is to waterproof everything. It's actually been a couple months, and the chimney cap looks perfect. There's no cracks in it, but I want to waterproof everything, including the cap and all of the bricks. You can see all these bricks are still really bad and chipped out. And this isn't going to fix any of that, obviously, but it's going to hopefully prolong the life of this chimney, make sure no more water gets in there. So I'm going to waterproof the top and all the bricks. The waterproofing stuff I just got on Amazon. It was like 30 bucks. And I also bought this sprayer. It was like 15 or 20. So I'm just going to start waterproofing and let it go all the way down. And I'm really going to focus on this area and the cap. This isn't as important, but I'm really going to try to make sure no water can get up and in here. Well, so far it's pretty straightforward, but as far as coverage, I filled this up maybe a quarter of the way, and I've already used all that up, and I've only gone down about 3 or 4 feet. So this definitely isn't going to do a whole chimney unless you thin it out with something. Mine was like, oh, that jug will cover this whole chimney. I'm probably only going to get down to about this level, which is fine. I don't need to do all the bricks. This is the more important area, but just to let you know, that that jug, I'm sure it's on the quantities there, what it'll cover, but for me, it's probably only going to do about 10 feet in that entire jug, and this chimney is like, I think, 7 by 3 or something like that. Well, that's it. There's not much to it. You're just spraying it down. The tough part is you're 20 feet up on a roof. I used 80% of the jug, and I covered down a few feet off the shingles there, but I covered the worst area, the area where I think water's been getting in. So that's it. Those are the 3 steps on how to seal up your chimney. Hope it helps. My advice is to do it before it gets this bad. Do it right when you start seeing those pop outs of bricks. Get it then so it doesn't get any worse. Hopefully this lasts a lot longer. Thanks. Now we get to climb down with the ladder. The hardest part of the whole thing is getting this ladder over to there and not falling off the roof. Now the steep part, which I'm going to do two-handed.
Well, I hope you liked the video you just watched. If you did, feel free to subscribe by clicking the button on this side. You can also check out all the videos I've done, the playlist from things I've built, things I've fixed, home repair, 3D printing, and on this side you can check out a recommended video similar to the one you just watched. And as always, down in the description I'll put a link to my blog, which has more pictures and more information about the video you just watched. Thanks.